Hi everybody, how are you today? Thought I would get on tonight. Oh my gosh, another month's gone. Amazing. It's April on what, Wednesday? Wednesday is it? Yeah, Wednesday. Oh my gosh. So things are trucking along really fast. So I thought I would get on tonight, and a lot of people are at different stages at the moment of awakening. There's a lot of people that are just waking up and they're hitting the floor, like, that where everything in your life falls apart and it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And so I've been posting about these different stages, and it's all from lived experience as well too, but I've just been posting about these things. So the first one I did was, when you go through the breakdown and everything in your life falls apart, it's like it all seems to turn to crap at the same time. And like you might have a health issue, or you might lose a job or a partner or whatever, and you go through all of these things, and it seems like when you're going through that process, there can be like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just one thing after the other after the other. And so in that place, when you actually hit that rock bottom, you're at your strongest point because nothing else can knock you down. You've got a choice. You can stay and wallow, or you can get up and fight. And that's where we evolve. This is where our strength comes. And Dark Night of the Soul is also what is going on with humanity at the moment as well too. Different stages of waking up. A lot of people at the moment, they're in so much trauma and grief and everything like that, and each and every one of us has a choice in that moment. Do we lie down and die, or do we get up and fight? Hi, Di. So, and then the next stage when you've been through the break. So because I have fairly regular, it's a conscious process for me. I choose to, when something starts coming up and I know that there's going to be a really deep process, I allow it. So what I call it is the swallow technique. And so the first stage of a breakdown is you swallow your emotions. You get yourself busy. You're always looking after everybody else's stuff, and you're working really hard, or you're doing everything you can to sort of avoid yourself because you're so tired. But you just keep on going because you feel like you're stuck on the hamster wheel. So that's the first stage of it. So the swallow. So you take the S off it, and then you wallow. You allow yourself to feel the emotions. You allow yourself to go really deep. You allow yourself to go to the depths of the core. And this is the shadow work, and if it happens to everybody at some stage, and it happens to some people. I've had it happen so many times, and every time I do, it's a process of evolution. So you wallow, but you put a time limit on it. You don't have to hold on to it for years and go on and on and on, and let that be the thing that keeps defining your future and defining your present, because you're still living in the past. So put a time limit on it. So I'll say, okay, right, I'll call this my wallow weekend, and I'm just going to go through the process. I'll scream and I'll cry and I'll do my breath work. I'll do whatever it takes to get there. And my God, when you surrender to it, you go through a lot of emotions, a lot of deep emotions. And then, so the wallow, but you put a time limit on it. So I say, right, Sunday, 6 o'clock, that's it, I'm out of here. I'm done with all of this processing. And it's actually better to do it over a period of time, really short and intense, rather than hanging on to it for years and years and years, because the longer you put it off, the harder it is when you actually do go through that process. So then you take the W off, and it's like, so I'm just allowing that process now. So you have your swallow, your S and your W and your A, and you're allowing. So when you're allowing it, you are you're allowing yourself to go through the levels. You're allowing yourself to feel what it is you need to feel. You're allowing all of that which you have suppressed, or you've been tired and you've pushed away, all of those emotions that you've pushed down. This is all the pain in the body that we have. This is all the sickness. This is illness. This is all of the shit that you've carried in your body because you haven't allowed yourself to process it. Hi, Vicky. You know what I'm talking about with this one, big time. And so when you allow it, you find that all of a sudden you have your clarity a lot faster, So, and then you take the A off the allow, and you get your flow back. So you start flowing again, because it's like you've allowed yourself to go into the dark night of the soul. You've allowed yourself to go to the depths, and it's about releasing all of the illusions that we care about ourselves and the people around us, and, the belief systems that we've created as a result of it. So So when you get your flow back, then you get glow back, you know. So I always allow like a couple of days of integrating afterwards, because it's really important when you've processed deep emotions, like sobbing to the boots emotions, to give yourself time to integrate it and time just to let things settle in your body. And then you go to the next process, which is like, you're sort of in a state of limbo, you know. You're sort of in this limbo state where the old parts of you are all sort of falling away, and then the new parts of you haven't fully formed, and it's sort of like you're stuck between two worlds. And this can be the most difficult part of the process, because this is where we get really impatient. This is where all of our control things come in, and oh no, it's not happening fast enough, and I've done all of this healing, and what's happening and everything. And this is where we actually build our foundation of faith and trust, because it's like, when you're in that state, you have to allow the universe to realign things. And it started realigning things by bringing you to this place of breaking down, because you can't move forward and evolve if you're still carrying all of this crap. So it can be the most difficult stage, because, you know, sometimes you can be in limbo for a really long time, or what appears to be a really long time. And that's when we have to learn to surrender and just trust and let go and just allow the universe to bring us. So that's, again, bringing in the allowing, so that we can get into our flow. So what happens when you come out of that stage is that you find all of a sudden that the conversations that you used to have with people, that they're not stimulating anymore. You can't tolerate certain people's energy in your life anymore. Even family, friends, you just can't be in that energy anymore, because it's not who you were, you know, like that picture of who we had, and that place where sometimes it's comfortable to go back to. Sometimes, you know, when we're in this rebuilding stage, we might go back to the old people, or the old ways, or the old thoughts, because they're comfortable and they're familiar. So it's like, oh no, I'm just going to go back there because it feels safe. Because there's a certain feeling of that uncertain feeling when you're in this liminal state, and everything's sort of coming to that place of, you know, coming back together again, and we've got to trust it. It can be quite a dangerous thing, because then you can sort of sabotage it. Oh, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to the old way because it's easier and it's safe and it's comfortable and it's familiar, but it's actually not. And the more we go back to the old ways, the harder it is, and the faster we fall. Hi, Andrina. Good morning to you in England. But the more we, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, so when we come out of that limbo state, this is when people start dropping away out of your life, like friends, family, conversations, and you might go through quite a period of quite loneliness, you know, because it's like all of a sudden you're not who you used to be anymore, but you don't quite know who you are. The people and the things that you used to be able to relate to, they're just not on your wavelength anymore whatsoever, and it's really difficult to be in that energy. And it can be like quite a really uncertain time. You might find like you've lost your job, or you've lost your home, and all of that sort of stuff, which was part of the breakdown. And then it's like, okay, what do I do now? And this is the rebuilding phase. This is where we start sort of quite often, and it's the start of people's journey of awakening too. It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I need to know more about self-empowerment. I need to know, you know, what can I do to be a better person? I need to look at this shit that has kept holding me back all of my life. So this is quite often when we can start our healing process. And more things will drop away when you go in the healing process, because as you start peeling back the layers, you know, there's always more. And that's the book that I'm writing, The Eternal Fucking Onion, because that's what it is. It's like you peel back a layer and you get right to the core, and then there's more. There's always going to be more. So it's a constant, never-ending process of evolution that we're going through. Never ends. We're never, you know, we've always got something else to keep doing. But as we do it more, and as we do it consciously, it takes you less time to get over things, you know, things that you would have hang on to for months or weeks or years, that's gone, you know, like you can process it in the moment. You realise how far you've come on your journey, because you do have the inner strength to be able to pull yourself through and to be able to get yourself through it, and to realise that everything is just a process and everything in life is only temporary. So you will get through it. No matter what it is, you will get through it. And think about the things that you've come through in your life, you know, and how amazingly things have turned out. And you think back to those times, you think, oh my God, I remember when that happened and everything turned to crap and boom, boom, boom. And then down the track, wow, look, all of these doors opened, all of these things. And So this is the rebuilding process. You might find that all of a sudden things start aligning. The more you become aligned with yourself and the more you become aligned with the new version of who you are. That's what happened with this place when I manifested this place 3 years ago. This Easter, I've been in this place after being homeless for 5 weeks and all of the stuff that went on in that time and the horrible camping ground and all of the stuff, but all of that was meant to happen. And then I just got to this point one day, it's like, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. I let go and I let God. And then this place presented, the most beautiful place, you know, and everything's changed from that point. So it's like you have that turning point in your life. You have that point, it's like, wow, you know, that's been really amazing. So in the rebuilding phase, you might find that you might get new friends, or you might connect with people that are on a different frequency, which is really good. You might find that, as I say, like a new place might materialize and everything starts flowing, everything starts sort of coming together. I know, Vicky, 3 years, it's amazing. And it was the anniversary of my mum's death, which is the 4th of April, that we found that she brought this place to us. And Good Friday, we were flying over for her funeral at Easter. I mean, it's a bit reversed in the timing now, but, you know, it's just amazing. So, yeah, in this rebuilding phase, this is where we start really getting honest with ourselves, because at some point you just have to. So this is where you might start your healing processes. You might start going to healers, or you might start going to workshops, or you might start reading books, or you might start, it's like you're needing to feed yourself, you're needing to feed your soul, because it's like, oh, well, I don't know who I am anymore. Who am I in this new version of myself? So this is how we learn, you know, and we seek all of these things outside of us, and then ultimately it leads back to the journey within us, because that's the only place to go. So these things are really good because they sort of stimulate us and they bring us to a thing. You know, you go through things, you think, oh, yeah, no, that doesn't work for me anymore. No, I don't really resonate with that. So you take what you need from all of these things that you experience and that you learn, and this becomes a part of the newness of who you are. So in that newness, it's like, so say as an example then, you've done all the rebuilding, so your place is manifested, you set your place up, you know, you set it all up, and then it's like, oh, my whole life's just about to start again. You know, my whole life is starting in a whole different place. It's starting, and I'm in a different place from where I was. And, you know, looking at things differently. So things that once were important to you probably have no significance to you anymore. Definitions of things that you thought, you know, maybe what success was, or maybe what, you know, all of this stuff, enlightenment and all that sort of stuff, it all changes because you start trusting your intuition and you start really going within, because intuition, you are intuition. There was no other teacher outside of you. You are intuition, and that's God. God is within you. That is your intuition. So yeah, there's so many people at these different stages. Sorry, and this is what's also going to happen for humanity, you know. So we're coming close to the breakdown. Some people are already in it. Some people have excuse me, but as a collective, we're coming into that place of the breakdown, you know, and people are either going to get up and fight, and yes, they will get up and fight, but all of the illusions, all of the lies, everything that we've been told, everything we've believed is being shattered and smashed to the ground, so that it can be rebuilt on integrity and all of the things that we know in ourselves to be true. So, and then humanity will go through that liminal space, you know, space when after we've had this big breakdown, it's like, oh my God, what do we do now? We don't know how this new Earth's going to look. We don't know how life's going to be on this planet. So again, it's like we need to be coming within. It's like, what would be your greatest life that you could achieve for yourself, and not necessarily achieve, that's the wrong word, like manifest for yourself or create for yourself. But what's the feeling of it? You know, what would it feel like having that beautiful twin flame partner, and you're just going and doing things together and having adventures, and you're fulfilling your mission, you're doing all of that. What would it feel like to have that beautiful home? What would it feel like to, you know, have unlimited funds so you could do whatever it is that you wanted to do, so you could travel and you could do, you know, all of that stuff. So that's what the rebuilding is going to be about. And it's going to be like, okay, what works for me, and what people do I want to be associated with, and what people do I, you know, need to move out of my vibration. Because you need to realize how sacred your vibration is, and you need to realize that not everybody actually deserves to have access to it. Because I used to be, oh my God, I want to heal the world. I was a rescuer. I just want to rescue everyone, but I wasn't actually looking at my own stuff. So there's all of these different stages that we go through, and then after the rebuilding, you know, rebuilding on solid foundations, You know, that's when all the newness starts. So wherever you're at on this process at the moment, you know, whether you're about to break down, you're still swallowing your emotions, drinking, smoking, shopping, working, whatever it is that you're doing to avoid yourself, to get to that wallowing process where you break down and you're just like, that's it, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. You've got a choice, up or down, which way you're going to go. So this is what's going to happen for humanity as well too. There's going to be a mass break, you know, and a lot of people will rise up and a lot of people won't. And that's just the reality of it, because that's, you know, as an individual lives, it's the same thing. And then there'll be that process of, you know, after everything's like, oh my God, what are we going to, like, what are we going to rebuild? How's humanity going to look? How are we going to bring about this new world that we know so much about? And you know what? We've actually come from that new world. There's no new world. There's no new earth. It's what we've come from. I know I've come from this. I know that so many of us have come from these higher dimensions where, you know, it is like a utopia, because people are enlightened and they are in their hearts and they are in their truth, and everything's pure and there's none of the bullshit, you know, there's none of the bullshit, just, you know, like the drugs and like all of the stuff, all of the bullshit. So the new earth's already always been in existence. We're just coming back into that within ourselves, and we're coming back into it in a new, more embodied form. So it's a really potent time to be alive. And again, like I said the other night, you know, you could choose the path of the warrior, which amplifies everything, or choose the path of warrior, which is love or fear. That's all there is. So, and it's going to get, like April, they say April's going to be like kinetic, and I've been saying that for a while. March has been pretty intense in a lot of different ways, but you also find too that the more you step back from it, the less it affects you, because there's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing. They're like, the government's going to do what they do, and they're going to, you know, but it's all part of the lie. Like, just don't even engage with it. It's just not, don't give them any of your power, because they're not worthy of it. You need to realize that you're the prize. You know, you're not the beggar in the street. You're the priest or priestess, the high priestess in the temple, and that's what we need to be realizing now. So after the the rebuilding, and it becomes the embodiment. You know, this is my path of, like, my path is embodiment. My path is to be the example that all things are possible, no matter what you come through. If you have the right frame of mind and you have that inner calling to keep pulling you forward, to keep growing and evolving, that you'll get through anything. No matter what the universe throws at you, you will get through it. So that's what we've been prepared for, each and every one of us. We've been through all of these initiations. We've been through all these rites of fire. Some people haven't, though. Some people haven't quite got there yet, and it's going to happen for everyone. So I'd rather do it consciously, and hi Jenny, I'd rather do it consciously and you know, and also consciously create for myself what it is, how I feel my life would be, you know. And that's also too about self-love. You know, like, I don't give a shit about what anybody says about me. I have absolutely, it's none of my business. You know, whereas before I said, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? Or I better not say this. It's like, I actually don't care. I really do not care, because as long as I am true to myself, other people can say whatever they like, because I figure if they're talking about me, they're leaving someone else alone. There's some really nasty people out there. Not everyone that claps for you is actually really clapping for you, and I've learned that a lot over the years. And but it doesn't matter, you know. It only affects me if I choose it not to. I mean, if I choose to allow it. Yeah, goddess. Yeah, we are all goddesses, and we need to own it, and we need to walk like the goddess, and we need to actually step into that energy. Because if we are you know, if we are that, but we've still got the lack thoughts and all of that sort of stuff, you know, the universe is going to get to bring to us what is the most dominant vibration that we carry. So yes, so in a philosophical mood tonight, but anyway. So yeah, this is just a process of evolution, and then it's about coming into your greatness, you know, and greatness isn't about ego. Your greatness is about your God self. Hi, another day in paradise in England. Oh, we're global again tonight. We love that. Yeah, things are pretty hot over there too. But again, it's like that paradise comes from within us, and if we can stay in that place, the outside world has no effect. So yes, I hope that's making sense. But okay, right, the greatness. So the greatness is self-love. The greatness is standing in your truth. The greatness is being sovereign. The greatness is You know, really honoring yourself, really acknowledging who you are. That's your greatness. And it's not about ego. It's about, you know, we are great souls. We are the most amazing, powerful, magnificent beings on the planet. And each and every one of us is made in the likeness of God. And we need to be realizing that. You know, the Sophia codes are being activated in a lot of us, which is the Christos energy for especially for the woman, you know, coming into that divine Sophia energy, which is Mary Magdalene as well. You know, that energy of she was a priestess. She was like part of the sisterhood. You know what I mean? She was a teacher. She was a guide. She was a wise woman. She shared all of that. Her and Yeshua shared the knowledge and the wisdom of the universe. And they were here to teach us that. And that divine feminine has been smashed ever since then. But guess what? We're back. And they better fucking watch out, because we're coming after them now. This patriarchal bullshit has gone on for way too long. It's destroyed the mother. It's destroyed everything. And we're not having it. So this is part of stepping into that. And this is why we need to have the lockdowns, and people need to wake up. They need to see the depths of depravity and the extent of evil that there has been, that we've known things to a degree, but we've enabled a lot of it. We still do. Like, we still use our phones. We're still on, we're enabling a lot of it still because it's convenient. Like all the social media, it's all owned by the same beast, that we pretend that we're fighting, but we're actually, it's convenient for us to be doing that. So we're still enabling it. So that's about getting really honest with ourselves. But we're also embodiment. This is about embodiment. It's about everything that you've come through has made you more of who you are. And every time you have a break, every time I have a breakdown or a breakthrough, I'll have maybe 3 a year, and it's conscious. And I'll do it as a conscious process. And it's like every time I come out, it's like, oh, far out, that was amazing. Not for the faint-hearted, but, if you can do it as a conscious process, it's not going to trip you up like 5 years down the track and be so devastating you can't get up. Some people, it takes years to get over a breakdown or a breakthrough, to have that breakthrough. So we don't need to be doing that anymore. So this is about embodiment. What do I embody? I embody the divine feminine. I embody my self-awareness. I embody all of my lived experience. I embody all of the wisdom that has come as a result of that lived experience. And as a result of that, I am able to have empathy for pretty much every situation that people come, that will experience in their life. I have a level of empathy for just about every situation that people can come to me with. And that's what makes me an exceptional healer, because I've lived the experience. I have come through the other side of it. And every single one of those things, even the worst, darkest things, have been my greatest gifts and my greatest teachers. So that's my superpower. So start thinking about what your superpowers are. Start thinking about, okay, so this rebuilding process for humanity, what would be the thing that would draw you? What would be the thing that would help you, move to the next level? What would be your gift? Would it be working with animals? Would it be healing? Would it be art? Would it be travel? What would it be? What would be your thing that would really light you up and really, switch you back on so that you're fully alive again? Because we've been living like dead for so long. We've been living dead from the waist down for such a long time, and it's about stepping into your vitality again. There's no point doing the spiritual work if you're not doing anything physical. There's no point doing all of the emotional work and the emotional healing if you're not doing the somatic release from your body, because you cleared the emotions, your body still stores them. And we also need to be nourishing our spirit, because we're mind, body and spirit. We're not one of the three, we're all of the three. So this is what this journey is all about, and it's about embodying the spirit of your higher self, embodying the spirit of who we are, because it's way bigger than our 3D personality or our 3D persona. So put in the comments, while I'm waffling away, what you're feeling about what's going on right now, what's going on for you. And I will tune in, and then I'll come back to it on the other side. So just, really feel into it, like have you come through a breakdown lately? A lot of people I know are going through, and it's horrific because when you haven't had the awareness and the consciousness to come, it's horrific. You know, I'm walking beside someone at the moment and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I so honor your journey. I so understand your journey. There's nothing I can do, but I can walk beside this person and support her, but I can't, there's, you know, and if that's the best that I can do and if that's helpful for her, that's amazing. But it's also too to realize that we're not alone in this journey, because it is a very solitary journey. We've chosen a very solitary journey to get to this point, because if we had had all the partners and all of the stuff that we thought we wanted and the wealth and that sort of thing, we would have been distracted and we wouldn't have actually done the deep work that we've done to get to this point. And it's the same as with the twin flames. You know, they've been going through the rites of fire and the initiation and everything as well too, so that they can be prepared, because that twin flame's not going to come to you until A, you love yourself, B, until you've done your work, and until they've done their work as well too. So that's why it's taken so long. And this is not just this lifetime, it's lifetimes. Yeah, music and dancing, that's great. Yep, that's brilliant. And we do need to shake the body. And we do, like I've just started doing Qigong. And oh my God, it's amazing. It just adds a whole nother dimension to my breath work and my yoga and the other things that I do. But that's not for everyone, you know. But as long as you're doing something to move your body and something to you know, like to clear your emotional stuff and to release it from the body and to do for your spiritual work. That's why rituals, I might do that tomorrow night, like daily rituals and how important they are. So yeah, I'll stop waffling now and I will tune in, and yeah, we can answer any questions on the other side and see how we go. Greetings, dear hearts. We are most pleased to be connecting with you at this time. There are many, many mountains that have been moved, and there are many, many more that will be placed on the pathways. However, there is what would always be said is that there is always a way through these things. We can come around things, we can avoid things. However, ultimately, when we choose to come through these things, there was always a way. There was always light that is at the end of the tunnel. There are many, many moves being made in this moment on many dimensions in time and space. For as you well know, this is a spiritual war. This is a war of principalities. This is not about all of that of the 3D world. This goes way beyond this. And it is also in many dimensions in time and space, where this battle for dominion and power has been ongoing. And again, we would remind you that God has won, for God is the light, and the light is from those that have come into that place of self-love, for those that have moved away from that place of fear and worry and doubt. And this has an energy, a frequency that sends ripples out to the consciousness. And these ripples are ever increasing, for as we send out these ripples of light and these ripples of energy, it touches those that are ready to awaken, that are ready to live their lives as their higher selves. For that is the destination in the higher realms. You are living as your higher self. However, to do that, you must go through the process. Again, you cannot go from driving a Mini to a Maserati. You must work through the process. You must do the healing, working through all of the childhood patterns and programs, all of the ancestral lineages and curses, all of that which has been put upon and that we have brought forward with us from other lifetimes. Releasing those aspects of the self that have been so detrimental, the people pleaser, the saboteur, the victim, the controller, the dominator, all of these different aspects of ourselves, for we all carry all of these things. And this is the process, for as we move through these, we come into the place of the heart. And the place of the heart is where we learn to love ourselves. And then as we move up through the higher chakras, we learn to speak as our higher self. So our throat and our heart are connected. Our higher self is speaking through us in all things. We learn to see with our sight, our gift of vision, which is our superpower that we all have, and this has been dimmed down in many ways. We begin to intuit that which is coming for us. We begin to move through these waves of emotion and intensity in consciousness, for that is what we are. Enlightenment is into the light. And this is about being embodied, conscious, awakened beings. There are some days where we may slip back into the old patterns and habits to find that place of comfort. However we do, we find it is far more uncomfortable than it used to be. And again, this can propel us forward on our journey. I'm not available for that anymore. I'm not returning to that anymore. This does not serve me anymore. When you can find that place of discernment within you, and you can feel that truth that is within you, that moves through your cells, your atoms, and your DNA, you will find that you will become more attuned to other people's energies, and you will see when their words are not matching their actions. You will feel when their energy isn't matching their words. You will find that you will sense deception in someone very fast, and you will sense that deception within yourself also, for all things are a mirror. This is a time of great reflection, dear hearts, a time to re-establish the new foundations built on trust and truth and integrity and light, and to let go fearlessly of all of that which no longer serves you, for the past does not exist anymore except in the mind that we carry it with us. So releasing all of these things that no longer serve us and standing in the place, in the present, here and now. Your presence, your presence is your greatest gift. So when you can be present in the moment, you can pre-sense all of the moments around you. Think about that for a moment. There are many, many changes afoot, as you well know. And again, this is a reflection. What is going on in the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. And the wars, the only wars that exist, are in the minds of men and women, of all of us. And that has been by design. So when we become the warrior of our own self, when we become the guardian of our own spirit, of our own soul, of our own sovereignty, all things change. And you may find, yes, there are times that it is a path that is very solitary. However, that loneliness becomes oneness. And that is onlyness. Onlyness is oneness. So owning that oneness. This is a time of deep transformation. And again, everyone has a choice, love or fear, the path of the warrior or the path of the warrior. And by trusting in the universe, by trusting that this is God's divine plan and that it is inevitable, that which is coming, for we cannot move forward without these foundations being shaken to the core and being smashed to the ground so that they can be rebuilt again in truth and light as you are rebuilding yourselves. Remember your divinity and remember your humanity. Stop the patterns of beating yourself up when something hasn't gone right, or criticizing that one thing when there's 99 things that are good, that are worthy of looking at. Stop all of this micromanaging of the mind, of the self, and of those around you. Stop controlling the outcomes and thinking that it's going to come in this particular way. And this is where the warrior steps aside and allows the universe, bring that to me which is mine for my highest good. Show me how to use my power and to use it now for the greatest good of all. And when you step into that place of power and sovereignty, all things will come with grace and ease. Know that all is well in divine order. All is aligned. And again, this is God's plan, not your plan. God's time, not your time. And know that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, and so it is. A gale. And so it is. So just see if anyone's put anything there. But it can be a confusing time, but again, it's just like just going within. Like there's no, it's not gaslighting or anything. There's nothing you can do about what's going on in the outside world. If you give it your power, you're leaking your energy. Be vigilant in your, energy hygiene every day. Like, having a shower, I, wash away all that which no longer serves me, take away anybody else's energy. I have no connection to anybody's energy or anything. At the end of the day, just let it all go, because we don't have that. We don't need to have that attachment to things and that attachment to stuff. It's really, really freeing. So sending you all so much love, and if anyone's wanting any help, moving through things, or you know, if you want to consciously go through the dark night of the soul, I will stand beside you on the cliff and I'll jump off that cliff with you and I'll go into the depths of the darkness with you and I will come out holding your hand, standing beside you, and you will be so filled with light that you'll be like, oh my God, I wish I had done this a long time ago. So that's what the journey is all about, moving fearlessly into the shadows, which is just those parts of ourselves that have been unloved. Because if you don't, it's going to come and bite you on the ass at some stage. And the longer you leave it, the harder it is. So, and that's just from lived experience. So I'd rather just do it now. Short, sharp, hard and fast, deep and intense. And it's done till the next time, and then the next time, you know. And every time you go through it, come through it, it's just another place of growth and evolution. So send you all so much love. Have a beautiful night, and I will talk to you very soon.